Hello, everybody. Once again, this is Marcus Allen from Enlightenment and Trust Society through WHPR TV 33, where deity is reality and reality is truth. Well, before I go any further, I want to thank all of my viewers that is tuning in WHPR TV 33, where consciousness can be exalted and where reality can give us all true identity. So on that note, I just want to say I love you all and enjoy this video and may your consciousness expand. Well, everybody, I have a special guest today, a man of many honors. His name is Professor Al Tesmo, a skilled man from Eastern Michigan, and also my spiritual father. He is a wonderful professor and an awesome respecter of humanity, a teacher that exalts the kingdom within. I'm glad to have you today, Al.
Nice to be here.
This is a wonderful, wonderful guy. We need more men like Al. He's a people's person, and he wants to bring enlightenment to this society so we can be uplifted consciously and so the kingdom within can be expanded within us all. Now, Al, tell us, what kind of work do you do and have done in the course of your life?
I've done everything from working at Great Lakes Steel and Fort Rouge to teaching in Africa, Russia, and here in this country at the university, and also at middle schools and high schools around the state.
Wow, wow. So you enjoy teaching and uplifting people.
I do. It's been 53 years of remarkable, remarkable paybacks for me,
What,
personal paybacks.
what started this drive? I just want to ask you that before I go any further, what gave you this fire of excitement within you to teach and help amongst people?
People in my life that were important were teachers. My parents were important, but my parents came out of a very difficult time in life, and they probably didn't have as much time as they would have liked to give to me individually. There were seven of us. So consequently, I had to turn to other people, and I turned to teachers. And I remember those teachers and always want to be like them.
Awesome. Well said.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Well said. Uh, what is in your background that have driven you to work so long as a instructor or a coach?
That's a great question. I should say that probably my own success, my own identity was wrapped around athletics, around debate, around school time activities. And so when I got an opportunity to continue to do this work with kids and do those things, I call football and I call debate and I call all those things I did in school as work now. But when I got an opportunity to do that, I thought, this is a way to stay whole for the rest of my life. And while it wasn't exactly in those words, it's what I sensed. So it was that experience that made me stay in teaching and made me be just absolutely delighted when I had somebody come up to me 15 years after I had them in school and say, "You made a difference." Or 40 years, like I just had recently, say those things to me. So that's been the drive, is that all the time I knew I was helping young people who maybe weren't as connected as they would have liked to be to the people, the meaningful people around them, and education and teachers helped fill that void.
Good. Well said. I love it when you said about experience. And as a matter of fact, I was talking to you earlier about experience that gives us a drive and a substance to help our youth to be better and to become one in this society. And it's good to be a teacher, but I'm gonna tell you, Al, uh, you've been in this for a while, and your heart is really for the people. You're not just a virgin voice. I want everybody to know that he is not just a virgin voice. He been in this for years amongst people. He didn't give up on the people. He been teaching them how to be a better people, a better nation, so we could evolve within ourselves consciously and morally. So I want to thank you for that as well.
Thank you very much.
Yes. You mentioned about consciousness as the key to human change. Why is it, and why do you make such a good connection?
I recently found out, and I say recently, perhaps within the last 10 years, that we have voices in our heads, and the voices are out of our past. People from the past taught you how to survive, and you took in those lessons, and you built your life based on what they taught you. But I found out, and it actually started in 1967, what I found out, with an exposure to Albert Ellis and a book called Rational Thinking in an Irrational World. And at that time, he talked about the ability to introspect, the ability to stand back and say, gee, I'm really angry now. Gee, I'm happy now. Or this is going on. And what I found out as I began to read later on in my life, and especially the last 15 to 20 years of my life, is that there is not an identity. There is not an identity that's wound around those voices. Our identity is wound around the observer of those voices. So we have, like Albert Ellis suggested, we have the ability to stand back and watch the voices, if you will. It's a little scary to say that. To watch the voices actually argue back and forth, the positives and the negatives, the pros and the cons. And to just live life in the present, to be aware that they're arguing, to understand that they're not you, they're the voices out of your autobiography. And
Very
you,
true.
as the observer, have this consciousness. That consciousness allows you to live in the present, not the past.
Wow. And I love that the present now, the nowness of one's consciousness. And a lot of people, they think about the future and the stress of their past, and they forget about the enjoyment now. I got a saying that says, don't die for God, live for him. Don't die for him, live for him. Because our thoughts can crucify us so much that we cannot enjoy the kingdom within. We are not here to be caught up in anxiety and worries, but we are here to fulfill only one goal, and that's to explore this universe and our inner universe so we can be a light unto others. I love it when you said that about the present. We must separate ourselves from the stress of past and future thinking. Briefly, what writings and writers are significant to you and why?
So many, so many. Current ones, current meaning the past 20 years. I don't quote writers, and I don't read writers unless they have a long experience. I want them to really have invested their lives
Right.
in some writing before it makes sense to me. So Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Brilliant, brilliant writer, brilliant man. Peter Senge, Systems Study. Why it is people change and how they change within systems. How do systems change? Chad Helmstetter, be careful what you say when you talk to yourself. About personal programming ourselves for success or for failure. Eric Berne, a psychologist who wrote about parent, adult, and child, and wrote about the fact that we indeed get a script by age 8 handed to us by our mentors, and we, for the rest of our lives, act out that script. It's a frightening, in some respects, frightening concept. But Eric proved it again and again, and I've seen it again and again. But we can rewrite that script if we know about consciousness. So those are the writers that help move me to this point. There are others, obviously the Bible, Buddha, just be. Human life is about suffering, and there's tremendous meaning behind that. Um, People from all over the world, Gandhi particularly, was Nelson Mandela with all of his work in Africa. Wonderful people, had tremendous things to say, but they were all experienced, so I knew I could put some credence behind them.
Well said. Wow. That is well said. And I believe every word that you are talking about or have mentioned about the power of words. Okay. And with your words, you're either going to release yourself or put yourself in captivity. Okay. Words are not just words, they give off powerful images in one's life. Okay. So words that say I can't do it or I can't be, we need to stop saying I can't and say I will. Matter of fact, I will is the greatest independent force a spirit, a soul, and a body can have. I will. Self reliance, self actualization, knowing who you are within this life. And once you know who you are, you will evolve into a greater you. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Do,
Powerful point.
yes, yes, indeed. Okay. Does your work involve the study of the brain, and how does it affect the learning of the people and the change of the people?
My life is about change. My life is about learning. My life is not as a psychologist. I don't want to move out of my lane and claim that I know things that they would know. I'm not a therapist at all. What I am about is helping people be better learners, learners that can act on new information, bring it to life, and make their lives and the lives of those around them better. We absolutely, absolutely can change the way the world is around us if we view ourselves in one of two frameworks. One, responsible, which usually means guilt. I'm guilty for doing this, I'm guilty for doing that. And there we find the chains, the imprisoning that goes on with our talk. Or we can be response able to respond, Stephen Covey. And what that basically says is every situation that I'm in, I have a role in it. But if I have a role in causing it, I can respond to it by changing my behavior. Now we've turned what you did from this negative imprisoning thing into this force for change, a powerful force. And it's all done through words, words stored in your head, and words that you use in consciousness.
And words are spiritual. Okay, that's what I want y'all to realize. Words are not only carnal; it just don't touch the flesh. It also goes to the core of your spirit. Okay, what you speak out does not only goes out into the universe; it goes into your own belly. Okay, so if you say good words, it will leave a good, awesome taste unto your mouth. But if you speak negativity, then it's going to leave a sour taste within your mouth and within your spirit. So remember what Al just said is that, use words in the correct way and know that words are powerful. Now, tell us, what about religion and how does it fit into your discussion?
I'm a scientist, basically. I teach robotics. I teach teachers too, but not as much anymore, mostly the scientific bent right now. But everywhere that I go, there's a faith that has to be part of my work. It goes along with patience. It goes along with working on this journey we call life with people. And if you have any kind of observational powers whatsoever, there are things in your being and things that in your environment that you can't account for.
Right.
There has to be a faith. There has to be accounting for it. Faith does it, and certainly religion does it. So, in that regard, faith, religion, plays a part in the ethics that I have, the way that I act with other people. Some call it the spirit.
Mm.
Uh, how I react and live out my life with regard to you and the things around me is what my spirit's all about. So, all of that wrapped together means that you and I have a certain responsibility to have this faith, to be able to just go to your core and say, I'm going to do this because it's right. That's what I believe, and that's faith.
Yes, yes. And faith is a secondary essence. Okay. Faith is good, but it's secondary because if you don't have that walk with
The
that
substance,
faith,
the substance, yes, okay.
okay, you're still gonna walk around handicapped. Okay,
Well,
you need to have both. Oh, it's so many Christians and people like Judaism, Islam. They claim faith, but you don't see them in the community really fighting for the oneness of the people. Everybody wants to be divided by doctrines and theologies and scientific methods, and we need to drop all labels so we can become one in unity and in wisdom. So faith is good, and we need hope. Everybody needs hope, but I want to let everybody know you must walk with that faith.
You must. That's a great point. If I could interject for a minute, I want to say that we have found, and I found this in people in Africa and people in Moscow, all over the world, in our work, and even in with my partner Kim Jaster, and I doing all of our work. We have found that it's so very important that you do have this substance.
Mm.
If you don't have this substance, if you don't have hope yourself, if you don't have love yourself, if you don't have all of those qualities that are important to life, you cannot give that to other people.
That's the truth.
And the other people in the world that hear you will respond so well when you have those things, when you bring them, because when you bring them, you automatically give them to them because they see it in your feet, not just your mouth.
Well said. Well said. Man, that sounds like some good music. You just man, this guy got a lot of wisdom. I love him. Man, he's an awesome guy. We need more people like this, man. We need to stop all just listen to entertainment and listen to some good knowledge. And everybody need to hear
Something
that
about
hope.
Detroit in regard to that, Marcus, if I could. I went to school here in Detroit. I played football here. I wrestled here. I studied here. I was educated here, and I student taught here. I identify with all of us here. What I'm saying is not for somebody in the suburbs alone. It's for all of us. And if we do these things, ISIS becomes unnecessary.
Yes, yes, that's the truth. What does spirituality and faith have to do with this approach? And how do you work this in your discussions with your students?
When I work with my students, I want to make sure one thing happens. I want them to learn. I want them to be able to respond to new information. And so what I do with them is tell them that you have to have this inner quality about you. And that inner quality, the extent to which you have that inner quality, the faith, is the extent to which you can give that to other people.
Great.
And so if you are an ethical engineer, if you are an ethical educator, you will be ethical to the extent that you've cultivated that already within you.
Right.
You see, circumstance doesn't create things, character things like faith and spirituality, how you react to other people. Instead, it reveals. It reveals. Circumstance reveals what you are. And so you have to bring those qualities in yourself to other people. before you can ever rebuild it.
Mm.
If we continue to do that in this city, like we did so many 50 some years ago when I started here,
Right.
if we start again, like I see it happening, it's very positive.
Good.
Um,
Good point. Good point.
then the rest of us can get on board again and remake our lives from the artificiality that many of us have today, television and things like that, and get back down to living as good people toward each other.
Mm.
Lastly, spirituality you asked me about. Spirituality is how I live my life in relation to you and the world.
Mm.
And spirituality then to me means the extent to which I love myself and the extent to which I'm patient myself and do the things that I think are good qualities is the extent to which I will give that to you and to my children
Awesome.
and to my students.
Awesome.
That's how I talk to my students.
Awesome. And uh, with that, we need to know about balance. Okay. True spiritualism is all about balance with along what he said. Okay. We don't promote you being a lame duck. Okay. Spirituality is all about having fun too. It's all done in moderation. Okay. I believe in moderation. A lot of people become so frustrated because they think, oh, this knowledge is gonna prevent me from having fun and watching certain. No, this is not a cult. Okay, this is spiritualism that will allow you to be yourself with moderation. So thank you for
You're
that.
welcome.
Okay,
You're welcome.
what anecdotal evidence do you have that supports your direction and work?
53 years of students coming back and saying to me, you made a difference. I wish I could say that early on in my career I was insightful enough to make a difference on purpose. I'm not. I was a young man. I made many mistakes and continue to make mistakes throughout my life. We all do. But at the same time, I believe that I'm a good person, and I believe they're a good person. They're good people. So consequently, for me, um, I'm concerned in this case that we stay as good people inside and that we understand that we have an obligation to others to promote that. And that's my basic message here, truthfully, and one I wanted to repeat again.
Great, awesome indeed, awesome. How can this approach go wrong?
Uh, the only way that it really goes wrong is when you start to you fall into the trap of trying to find outside solutions to inside problems. If I get my next job promotion, I'll be happy. Well, you get the next job promotion and you're not happy. What you have to understand is that happiness, boredom, ineffectiveness, um, tumult, those are inside problems. I don't solve them by having fun. I solve them because I go after them. That's that balance that you talked about.
Great.
It's being able to laugh, but and while you're laughing because you had fun, also being able to say, I did that, and only I know it, but I did it and I did
Right.
it right.
Good. Good. What advice will you leave us if the listeners feel that change is necessary for their lives?
I'd be the last one to give anybody an advice because I've made so many mistakes. But I would say this. Please keep in mind that your greatest power, your greatest strength, is solving inside problems with inside solutions, not outside solutions. Turn inside, and the rest will take care of itself.
You know what, man? Before I leave this show, I just want to say, man, hey, you are a gift to humanity.
Thank you.
And matter of fact, you got a number that if anybody want to contact you,
Sure.
or you
Yeah,
can,
please do. 313-682-7848. I love a text, but a phone call is great. And of course, I'm at Eastern Michigan University, and that's atesmer@emish.edu. Thank you.
thank you. Um, well, before we leave the scene, I want to give thanks to the whole WHPR TV 33 family. I want to thank R.J. Watkins and his whole family for coming up with this show. I mean, you don't meet too many shows like this that we can express who we are in a positive measure. I want to give a shout out to Maxine, and I also want to give a shout out to Renee, the owner of Stepping Out on Faith. Renee, she is a awesome and a wonderful hard worker. If you want to get in contact with her, call WHPR TV 33 and see what she have to offer. Once again, her name is Renee. Her organization is Stepping Out on Faith. Very awesome organization. And also, I want to represent everyone in Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan, I just want to say I love you all. Y'all are great people, and you have a great professor. Al is a good man, and he's very into uh, turning good men and good women to gods and goddesses of the earth. And that's what it's about, to be a ruler, a master, a reflection, a furor of your own 2 feet so you can walk across the bridge of enlightenment. So, last but not least, I want to say to my wife, I love her. Thank you for giving us mother nurturing and helping us as a people to grow through your compassion and your love. This woman financed this organization and many other people. So this woman have a heart for the people. She is my Venus. She is my fire. She is my desire. She is my twin flame. If you know about twin flames, we are definitely one. So, and on that note, I want to thank one of the greatest engineers, Brother Tyler. He's back there working right now on this video as we speak. So I just want to give him a shout out and let him know I thank you. You are very needed. Thank you for giving us fresh air. If you want to get a hold of Enlightenment and Trust Society, my number is 313-828-7439. If you want to get be a part of a good cause, and we on YouTube and stream live, so you can see our videos and enjoy them and spread them along. God bless.